Well. Hello and welcome back to another episode of MsG's Ladies Lounge. It is Monday once again, Monday, and I am your host, Gwen, Miss G. That's me. And I'm so excited to be here. Look at Candy over there laughing at me singing. I'm so excited to be here with you once again. It seems like it's been forever.
Yeah, it
But
has.
we are here, and I'm excited about that. And we've got some good news too. So, first, let me say welcome once again to Candace joining us on today. Hey, Candace,
Hey.
you look so beautiful. Your skin is just glowing
Oh,
today.
thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you.
yeah. Listen, I've got some good news, Candace.
Okay.
Do you want to know what it is?
Of course I do.
We are live on IG right now.
Wow.
My first time. And
Mine
we
too.
look, we look cute on there.
Okay, good.
We are live on IG. So hopefully some folks will jump in. But in the meantime, we're just excited to be here. And so glad to have any first time guests, all those that are joining us on today. So glad that you know we've had this opportunity to come once again, and I'm hoping that this show will, really encourage someone and help someone as we go through it. So, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And so
Mhm.
today we want to just have a little fireside chat, as they say, just talking about mental health awareness. Um, and before I get started, let me just introduce myself to those who do not know me. I am Gwen Finley. I'm the host here at Miss G's Ladies Lounge. I'm also a visionary startup coach. I am an author and a speaker at times. And I'm also excitedly working with individuals to help them to tell their stories. So we work on writing assignments and writing workshops and sometimes even publishing services and assisting others to become self-publishers. So that's a little bit about me. And Candace, why don't you just tell us a little bit about you? It doesn't have to be anything magnificent, but you are magnificent just as you are.
So my name is Candace Young. I am Miss G's cousin. I'm her little cousin. I'm a young mom to a 5-year-old little boy. Um, I have a YouTube. I love filming things. I love thrifting and little shopping and just enjoy being with family and friends. That's really what I love to showcase as well. I like reading. I love being outdoors, exercising a little bit. We're working on that, but we're getting through there. We're getting through it.
I know that's right.
But that's a little bit about me.
So I've been doing my walking challenge, right? So I'm working on
Mm,
it too. I've been doing. You can join me sometime, but I've been doing my walking challenge. So right now I'm doing Tuesdays and Thursdays.
mm,
Going to various locations because I love, first of all, seeing the beauty of various areas. But then
yeah.
I also just enjoy going into different areas in case anybody else wants to join in walking, and maybe some people can't travel too far or whatever. So
Mm,
last week I went to Three Lakes Park on Tuesday and Thursday, and it was so just it. I will talk about that as we get through this conversation because it was so beautiful, so relaxing. Although my
mm-hmm.
muscles were a little stressed because they weren't used to, all the walking. But the area, the scenery was just so beautiful, and so this week, I think I'm supposed to be going to tomorrow. I'm going to Echo Lake Park, which
Okay.
is in Glen Allen. So if
Mm,
anybody wants to join me, I'll be there at 5:30 p.m. And the thing about Echo Lake Park is a bit different. That actually has a trail. So I've never really
yeah.
done a
To
walking
walk
trail, so
that.
I don't know how far I can go. You done
I,
the
I
whole
used to
thing?
walk that one. Yeah, when I was pregnant, I would go out there and walk. Yeah.
Okay.
It was
I see a
hard,
lot of
but I
people.
did it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's my thing. I'm scared I'm going to get halfway through and be like, I can't swim across this water to get back to the other side. So I gotta walk it, right? Because even if
Yeah.
I have to come back, it's gonna be the same thing. So I might as well just keep going around. But I'm gonna make it work. I'm gonna make it work. So,
Yeah.
hey, Linda, thank you for joining us on today. We're glad to see you here in the lounge. Thank you, and those of you that are joining us. We're excited to have each and every one of you here. So, as we talked about, this is the month of May, and it is Mental Health Awareness Month. So we know that there are many mental health professionals out there, and we do have one who's going to be joining us on the third Monday of the month. So we want you to come back and make sure that you also get into the lounge and get into that conversation. But on tonight, we just wanted to kind of just have that non-professional because sometimes we get a little nervous when we hear the professionals talking. Like, am I really ready for therapy?
Hmm.
So it's good to have professional therapeutic sessions, but it's also good sometimes just to just talk it out amongst yourselves, um, and even have people that you can entrust with things that are going on in your life and you can share with. And so tonight we're just doing a non-professional chat about our subject, which is minding your mental. Minding your mental. Now, Candace, let me ask you this: what are some of the things that you have experienced that made you feel like you were you were at a place where you were at the crossroads and you needed to kind of regroup yourself because you felt your mental kind of going all over the place? Anything that you've ever experienced like that?
Um, I would say postpartum for sure.
Mhm.
You don't really realize it hits you until you evaluate what's going on in your life. And
Yeah.
I realized how much time was being taken away from myself, and I was neglecting myself. Um,
Mhm.
and with my son going to school, this is his second year at school. His first year, I was left with all this time, and I was basically a shell of who I was. And it
Mhm.
took a lot of time for me to figure out who I wanted to be or who God wants me to be. And it took a lot of, and I'm still in that, trying to find myself and find who I am. But it definitely took a toll on me more than I thought it did.
Wow, that is something to think about. Now, I've never had any children, so, but I have worked as a nurse with individuals and talked with individuals just in general who have dealt with postpartum, and that is a very real situation and very common situation among women. And
Mm-hmm.
so sometimes that lasts even for a while. It doesn't
Yeah.
always just go right away because the baby is a year old or whatever. Sometimes that lasts for years and years. So what do you think? Um, What do you think is a way that people can kind of during, and we'll kind of segue over to this. What do you think is a way that people can kind of during their pregnancy kind of help to, um, prepare themselves so they're not pushed into that spot without warning or not able to grasp themselves before they get there?
Number one, prayer. Definitely having a good prayer life. Being honest with your doctors about what's going on. Um, on my first month postpartum, they do like evaluations for like maybe the first three appointments just to see where you're at. And you have to be honest. You have to be honest
Mm,
because there's a lot of unspoken things that happens mentally, like the hormone
mhm,
imbalance, the baby blues, the well, that's
mhm.
postpartum, but just unexplainable things that only a doctor or someone who's going through it could understand. So definitely having your professionals know, your medical professionals know, letting your family know also of what you're going through. Being very honest is important.
That's good. That's good. We had that doula here with us last month. I mean, in the month of March, and she talked about some of the things with postpartum, and now they have doulas that can help you through some of those situations,
Mm-hmm.
and they help you prepare prior to giving birth so that when you do come through your birth process, when you start experiencing some of those feelings, you'll have some support because that's what the doulas are, basically the support,
Right.
and they're there to help you through all of that. I would like to turn that to the other side because as a woman who's never had children, I know it sounds weird, right? And yes, I'm going to be about 66. So there is also um, a mental situation that you deal with when you can't or don't have children,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So that's the other side of it. There are those who have children, then they go through the postpartum, and then there's those who want children or and can't have children or don't have children. And so now we're leading right up to Mother's Day.
Mm-hmm.
Mother's Day, and I wrote a book about it. I wrote a book recently called, well, maybe 2 years ago, called Perfectly Flawed, the Diamond Status. And in my book, I talked about that. There is a time when a woman, really starts to feel the effects of not having the ability to be a mom.
Mm-hmm.
And when Mother's Day comes, it becomes very, very strong, and you get very sensitive, and people are celebrating their mothers. Now, yes, I had a mother, so I was able to celebrate my mother as well, and I celebrate
Mm-hmm.
other great women. But there's still that feeling of, hey, what happened? I didn't have any children. So there's a lot of mental instabilities that can come with that as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand even on the postpartum side, I also understand on the opposite side. So we don't want to dwell there too long, but just, knowing that there are so many different things that can um, instigate a mental mental breakdown or mental unwellness, right?
Hmm.
So I'm glad that you brought that up. But let's talk about. I had another question for you, and if I could see my questions here, so small I can't see. So, first of all, let's just talk about mental well-being. What do you consider to be mental well-being?
I think of it as creating a safe space, not only for yourself, but setting an example for others, like setting an example for my son, setting an example for my friends, and uh, also fighting against what our community, the Black community, tends to, shadow over is our mental health, and just being able to navigate through life without having to lie to yourself or to others. Because again, going back to the honesty thing, it's very important that you're honest with yourself, more importantly
Right.
honest with God, because we're praying through this as well, and then being
Absolutely.
honest with your friends and family, so that if they're going through something similar, hearing your testimony might inspire them to get help as well.
I love that. And you all that are watching, you can chime in. Thank you, Linda, for joining this conversation. Feel free to continue joining us and tell us what your thought is about mental well being. But one of the things I was thinking about, because there are so many things that you could add to it, but one of the things that I was thinking about was learning how to navigate through situations and circumstances without allowing it to break you, without
Yeah.
allowing it to unhinge you. For a word that we can use, unhinge you and cause you to fall to pieces and lose your strength and lose your stability in the middle of what you're going through. Now, that's
Hmm.
not to say that you won't be affected in any way, but I remember, I used to I used to attend a lot of funerals because that's just what we did as a part of church. You know, everybody died. The whole church had to come and be a part of it. And as a nurse, I had to be there to be a nurse for the funeral. And very often, I had a lot of people who they would be so emotional that they would start getting sick, literally getting
Hmm.
sick in the midst of their grief. And, I often try to, just kind of calm people down as much as possible and let them know you have to be careful because I've seen people literally pass out,
Yeah.
and so many things can happen in the midst of what you're going through. And so when you can learn to, or when you can build up enough stamina, it's not always about learning, but figuring out how to, allow yourself to go through processes or praying for the strength. As you said, prayer is definitely, because if we don't pray, I'll tell you, most of the time, none of us are going to get through those
Right.
situations. But I've learned to pray through a lot of situations and uh, to deal with the situations that are going on at the moment so that I'm not broken in the middle of it. Yes,
Hmm.
sometimes I get down, sometimes I get discouraged, sometimes I get, but it does, I don't let it take me to the place where I am so discouraged that I can't move on. I can't, because sometimes some situations will literally get you to the point that you can't even move. You feel like you're just, I mean, physically,
Yeah.
and there are people who they're so emotional and they don't know how to turn that off often. They don't know
Hmm.
how to turn that emotion off. And so I'm glad that you brought up prayer. I'm going to ask you this question and then we'll talk about something, or I'll put my little piece into that. What is your definition of peace?
So shameless plug. I have a YouTube channel and my Instagram, and it's named Peace of Mind. It's spelled PCEOFMNDD. And I chose that because I understood that God provides a sense of peace that is unexplainable when we're going through what we thought was the worst thing that could ever happen in our lives, or financial loss, grief, whatever it is. And for Him to bring us through that is amazing. And to have a sound mind, or a peace of mind, rather, is incredible to me. And I find that if we focus more on just getting through it rather than just sitting in it, as you were saying, because some people don't know how to get around that. I think that's
Right.
my definition of peace, is just being able to walk through it, not unscathed, but at least you survived it. Because a lot of us are surviving. Unfortunately, we're not all thriving or living,
Absolutely.
but to be able to say that we made it through that season, that storm, that's peace to me.
Oh, we've got some watchers over on Instagram. Thank you so much. I see you. And we have the grief coach over there. She's been over here on Miss G's Ladies Lounge, as well as uh, Hidden in My Heart Creations, another one of our cousins. And so I'm glad to see you all have joined us over there. So, Miss Linda says that mental well being is key. The ability to have a process in place to deal with ups and downs that can help normalize emotions and prevent a full breakdown. I love that definition. It is imperative to pray and have a support system that you are comfortable with, and agree with you all. Thank you so much. Yes, we do not want to be stuck,
Right.
and that's the thing, because even when we're going through situations, and it's not always grief, it's not always sadness of somebody dying or anything like that, but sometimes there's just circumstances in our lives that weigh us down so heavy that we just don't know how to move past it. We don't know how to figure out our way out of it. And so a lot of people will actually just get stuck, as we said, and they would just sit there and then never move again, or
Mhm.
may move in a different direction, which might be a good thing sometimes. But one thing I will say is, if you don't deal with whatever you have going on, it'll likely come back.
Yeah.
But you have to deal with it. So I was thinking, when I said earlier I would come back to it, I was thinking of the scripture that says, He will keep us in perfect peace if we keep our minds stayed on Him. And that's a
Right.
real true statement, because now, not to say that perfect, that, lilies all around us and the water is blue and we're, sailing on the seas in the
Yeah.
yacht. But that perfect peace that will help keep our minds intact, help keep our thoughts intact, help us to stay focused on Him, because He is the one that is able to take care of all of our needs. One of
Hmm.
the scriptures tells us, lift our eyes, to the hills, our help from. And so when we learn to do some of those things, it helps us to navigate through our situations and our circumstances. So, do you have a question?
I do have a question for you. It's kind of a two-parter. Okay, so
Okay.
what was some things that you did in your younger years that you took with you? Because I know back then, especially with our ancestors, it was a lot of, you have to deal with it internally. You go cry in a quiet space. You shouldn't show emotion. You can't fail in front of people. So what practices did you do in your younger years that you brought into who you are now, especially with all the hats that you wear? Like, what's motivating you? How do you maintain the speed that you're going at? What drives you or helps you?
Okay, well, let me start with, I failed many
Mm-hmm.
times.
Mm-hmm.
I failed many times, over and over and over. I used to be a crier.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would cry at the drop of a hat. And one day I literally prayed and I was like, God, please help me to stop crying everywhere I went, everything in church, even though I wasn't sad, I was happy, crying, 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 tears, tears, tears. And so I literally prayed. I just wanted to stop crying all the time. I was
Mm-hmm.
having, and it wasn't always sadness. Sometimes it was just, again, being overly emotional.
Yeah.
If somebody said something to me the wrong way, overly emotional, right? Um, and so as I grew into this, but one of the things I would say, I've always been around the church, not always been in it like I should have, but I have spent most of my days in church and ministry. But
Mm-hmm.
once I gained a personal relationship with God, my own personal relationship, and I learned how to read the Bible for myself, I learned how to pray myself, I learned how to go to God, but I also learned that as the Bible tells us, that in the multitude of counselors, there's safety. And so
Yeah.
I found individuals that I knew I could trust and I knew I could confide in.
Mm-hmm.
People that I knew that even if I never told them the whole story, if I just was able to get in their presence, and sometimes I didn't have to tell them anything. They just began speaking to me. I remember going to a lady's house one day. I didn't really even know her. And she began to talk to me and she started telling me a story about herself. And
Mm-hmm.
it was exactly what I needed to hear. And so sometimes, people, they just see what you're going through. And she was telling me this story because she could see what I was dealing with.
Right.
But sometimes having someone there who can kind of see your heart and help you through the things that you need to do. I've spent a lot of time around older people, and so that kind of helped me a lot because I try to draw wisdom from those individuals. I also learned that I find peace a lot in movement.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not one of those people that I can stay in my room for
Mm-hmm.
days if I want to, but I've learned that movement for me helps me to have a better mentality, better well being for my mental status.
Yeah.
So sometimes my cousin and I was just talking about it. Sometimes I get in the car and I just drive. And I'll
Yeah.
drive from county to county to county to county to county.
Me too. Me
I
too.
will be all I'll be in about 7 different counties in one day. But during that time, I may have some music playing, I may be praying, and sometimes I just turn everything off
Mm-hmm.
just to hear what God has to say. And
Yeah.
so these are some of the things that we can do. And the other thing is enjoy life.
Mm-hmm.
You Thank you so much, Linda. Learning to enjoy life. Because a lot of times we are in situations and we feel a certain way because we don't take time out to enjoy life. And it doesn't mean spending a lot of money. I will go up into the mountains and just stand at the overlook and look over there and see the beauty that God has created. I'll sometimes go by the water and just stand and look at the water and I will start seeing, myself come down.
Yeah.
So those are some of the things that I do. Even
Mm-hmm.
though I can find myself busy at times. I'm not as busy as people think I am. But there are times when it's almost nonstop. But there are many times where I have time to myself. So the other part is I write. I get it out of my system by
Mm-hmm.
writing. So that's what pushed me into writing my books, becoming a writing coach, and all that. because it really is therapeutic. Even if you never plan to publish a book, just writing out your thoughts, it helps you to get it out of the brain, just going around, scrambling all around. Put it down on
Mm-hmm.
paper. And then you can look back at what you wrote and you can see for yourself where you need improvement. You can see for yourself where you need changes. You can
Right.
see where you need to move in a different direction. But when you just keep everything up in here, you are causing yourself to build up. I mean, it's just like if you try to put every piece of food that you buy in the refrigerator, you never take any out and eat it, eventually there's going to run out of space, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to take it out and utilize it. You can use it for so many things. The things that are going around in your head right now, if you wrote those things down and started looking at them, there's so many things that you can do with those.
Mm-hmm.
It could be a keychain that you can, you know, get a nice keychain and start, and you can make one for yourself or you can make one for everybody else, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's so many things that you can do if you can unscramble your brain and get all those things out of your brains,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so what are some of the things that you do now to keep yourself, motivated and keep your mind really productive? I know you say you like to thrift and things like that, but
Mm-hmm.
tell us a little bit more about how you really that allows you to keep yourself going.
I also write. I have a journal. I have a few journals, but I love writing out my thoughts for the week or for the day. Again, going back to prayer because that's major for me right now
Absolutely.
is maintaining my relationship with God. Having a reliable community that I can be open and honest with, like going out with my friends and having people that understand my pain,
Mm,
or even not even pain, just things that I just may be annoyed with or just need to let out, let off some steam
right.
sometimes. Um, Nature walks, I'm big on that too. I love going to Deep Run Park. I don't know if you've walked
Hmm.
around there, but they have
I
a really
have not, and it's right up the street from me too.
yeah, it has a really nice trail, great scenery, it has water, all of what you like. It'll
Yeah.
be in there. Um, even if I have too much going on at home, I'll just find some quiet time sitting in my car or something. Again, no music, just sitting there meditating and, like you said, just waiting on God's voice to show up. And yeah, I don't do too much because, again, a lot of the stuff you can do is for free. You don't have to go shop till you drop, you don't have to eat your life away, you don't
Mhm.
have to do nothing, you don't have to go to another state. You can
Mhm.
find peace anywhere.
Mhm. I agree, but I also agree with the variety. Variety
Hmm.
is what? The spice of life. I love when they say that. I love variety. And
Oh, and
so,
the
go ahead.
last thing with writing, when you
Hmm.
were talking about, writing out your thoughts and stuff, it's also good to look back. If you don't have anyone to share their testimony, at least you can look back and see what God has brought you through those testimonies that you wrote down. So at any moment, any major moment that I'm going through or a hard season I'm going through, I make sure to write it down so I can come back and say, oh, because we get spiritual amnesia all the time, forgetting what God
Absolutely.
has done for us, and having that visual is important.
And learning to be grateful.
Yes.
I think that's a problem. A lot of people are not grateful for what they do have. They're
Mm-hmm.
focused on what they don't have. And we can
Mm-hmm.
learn to be grateful for what we have. God opens the doors and blesses us with even more. Being grateful to Him for just the simple things and the things that He didn't allow us to get entangled in. There's
Mm-hmm.
so many things that we can be grateful for. And once we figure that out, we'll find out that we have more than we thought we had.
Mm-hmm.
We'll find out that we have more available to us than we thought was available to us. So I tell you, I enjoyed this chat. I'm looking forward to building even more of a um, well status for my mind, and that is by releasing some of the things that are inside of me, because I realize also that when we know we have things we want to share with others, or we want to do, or we want to experience, and we don't release them, that also causes a turmoil inside of us. So for me, people are always saying that you doing you got so much. People criticize you for doing nothing. People criticize you for doing too much. You got to just learn to just do what is going to help you to release those things that are inside of you. And I feel like if God gave me something, it is for me to utilize and for me to share with others. Because, like you said, somebody else may need what I have. And so once we learn how to do that, I think we will become in better being of our mental status. We will learn to have more peace in our lives when we share what God has given us on the inside to share and use what He has given us to use.
Mm.
Any final words, Miss Candace?
I just hope everyone's well and taking care of their mental health, because I know, especially with what's going on in the world and what we see online and on the news, I just pray that everyone takes care of what's up here and not take everything that's on our phone to heart as well. Still be
Yes.
empathetic, still pray for them, but also know that we're not made to carry all of that.
Absolutely, absolutely. I love that because there's so much false advertising out in the media, in the world today.
Mm-hmm.
Even individuals like to pretend that they're doing more than they're doing, but it's not for us to take it to heart. Our
Right.
job is to focus on what God has given us to do. Be happy for those who are doing great, and then do what you're supposed to do. Those who need, some encouragement and all that. Thank you so much, Linda. I'm really glad you joined us on today and joined in the conversation. I love when people interact with us. And thank you over there on Instagram for all of you that will watch. Thank you for those that are on YouTube and Facebook. So we were on all three today. Woo! So I may actually continue to use Instagram. It's just not. Something that I had to kind of learn how to work into the situation. So I'm so glad. And if you want to learn about Restream, let me know. Restream is a great little product here. Not little, but it's a great product here. And you can simulcast, as you see. I am doing all three through this one platform, and so I'm excited about that. You can do it through StreamYard, you can do it through Restream. I use them both. But right now, my platform is Restream, and I'm enjoying it. I am enjoying it. So, anyway, thank you so much for this conversation. Listen, we've got some great people coming, Candace, and I know you're going to like this. Next week, is it next week? Yes, next week, it's May. It's May. May the 11th. Let me make sure I got it right now. I think May the 11th, next week, we have, oh Lord, I got to get this right. Hold on, because I don't want to tell you the wrong guest. And I know I was looking at my calendar and I was like, I keep mixing up the days, and I think I made an announcement last month and it was the wrong day. So, yes, okay, next week, May the 11th, we have Miss Dana Wilson. So, Miss Dana Wilson is a certified, and maybe more than that, hair trichologist. Yes, so we are getting some great things that people are not used to seeing and hearing. So I have had a session with her in just over I don't even know if it was a video call. It might have just, I think it was a video call.
Mm.
She began to tell me what was wrong with my hair. And everything she was telling me, which was not just the hair, not looking at the hair, but looking at the whole being and
Mm-hmm.
what that effect does to your hair. And so, those of you that are out there, you want to know why your hair is not growing, you want to know why your scalp is dry, you want to know what's going on. Join me next week with Miss Dana Wilson. And then the following week, we will have um, uh, Deborah Daniels. And Miss Deborah Daniels is a grief coach. And so she will be with us and we'll be talking to her about mental wellness. And again, a lot of women, now we talking about women. So, women, they mind be all over the place when their hair ain't right.
Yeah.
If you want to get your mind right, you got to get your hair right.
Mm-hmm.
So believe me, it all ties in together. So join us back here on next week, and we'll be excitedly joined by Miss Dana Wilson. And until then, we'll see you and thank you for joining us today. Have a great week.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Candace.